CBeebies Bedtime Story.
Yeah, they're really big. They live in the ocean and they've... Oh, hello. Hi, Isabel. Hi, Logan. How are you, darlings? You alright? Yeah, you behaving? Did you have a good day at nursery? Yeah? Yeah? Good. What did you do at nursery? Ah, did you play choo-choos, bow cars? Did you get dirty, Isabel? I bet you did. I was just talking to Sebastian and to Nala all about whales. Now, you know about whales. You know how to talk in whale, don't you? Yeah. Well, what I was thinking was, I've got this new book for you. Yeah? It's all about the snail and the whale. If I read it to you and read it to these, we'll learn a bit more about snails and whales. And it can do just before bedtime, and then we'll say goodnight. Okay? I'll read it to you now. Sound good? Okay then. This is a tale of a tiny snail and a great big grey-blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny little snail. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock, and said to the snail with an itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wiggle, sit still, stay put." But the tiny sea snail sighed and sniffed. "I've got it, I'll hitch a lift." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a slivery trail that looped and curled and said, "Lift wanted around the world." This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright, a humpback whale immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. He held it out of the starlit sea and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." This is the sea so wild and free that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands, with fiery mountains and golden sands. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny snail on the tail of a whale. These are the caves beneath the waves, where stripy fish and feathery fins, and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam around the whale and the snail on his tail. This is the sky so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzag lightning flashing with frightening the tiny snail on the tail of a whale. And as she gazed at the sky, the sea, the land, the waves, the caves and the golden sand, she gazed and gazed, amazed by it all, and she said to the whale, "I feel so small." But then came the day the whale lost his way. These are the speedboats running a race, zig and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. This is the tide slipping away, and this is the whale lying beached in the bay. "Quick, off the sand, back to sea," cried the snail. "I can't move on land, I'm too big," moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then, "I've got it," she cried, and started to crawl. "I must not fail," said the tiny snail. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, "Sit straight, don't talk." This is the board as black as soot, and this is a snail with the itchy foot. "A snail, a snail," the teacher turns pale. "Look," say the children, "it's leaving a trail." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a slivery trail saying, "Save the whale!" These are the children running from school, fetching the fireman, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. This is the tide coming into the bay, and these are the villagers shouting, "Hooray!" as the whale and the snail travel safely away, back to the dock and the flock on the rock, who said, "How time's flown, and haven't you grown?" And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves, and how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, slithery tail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail, and they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the grey-blue humpback whale. Well, that was really good, wasn't it? I like that. Did you like that? Yeah? Good. Well, I'll be home soon, okay? Now, I know you've got your pyjamas on and you're going to get to bed. All right, I love you both very much. Okay, and I'll see you soon. Be good for Mummy. Right, maybe shall we teach him how to talk in whale? Shall we say good night in whale, shall we? Are you ready? Good night, darling. Good night, Sebastian. Night night, kids.
The time has come to say good night, to say sleep tight to morning light. The time has come to say good night. It's the end of a lovely day. We've had so much fun today. Tomorrow's just a dream away. Now it's time to say good night at the end of a lovely day.